What's up guys, Funny77 here, and welcome to another Spooktacular Friday. Now, I was given a suggestion from my first subscribers, STRL0011, thank you very, very much, said that, why don't you look for the scariest stories that we've ever heard, or the scariest stories that we've ever been told. And I'm like, okay, fine, I'll see what I can actually find, I'll see what I can actually do. And I was looking around and I found a place called Jezebel.com. And it says 10 of the scariest stories we've ever heard. And it seems like the editor is Miss Erin Ryan. Apparently she's stepped down from this, but but this was a while ago. It says this was actually updated in 2014. So I wanted to choose a few of these, but her response to me was that I should be as candid as possible, as straightforward and as honest as I possibly could. So if I say something that offends somebody or somebody that likes the story and I don't like it, please take it with a grain of salt. I'm an idiot. I'm just gonna read, the beginning of this. Don't even bother tightening your belts. You're about to get your pants scared off. Last week, we asked you to tell us your spookiest, freakiest, goosebumpiest stories. And holy sleepless night with the lights on, you did not disappoint. Because there are over 2,000 comments left on the original post. Simply too much scare to be contained in one set of results. This year, we're giving you a double dose of pants-shittingly scary content. Expect the second shock tomorrow afternoon on Halloween. So, this happened on the 30th of October in 2014. And I'm supposed to actually just pick a few and go from there. So I'm just going to see if I can find one. Bad Juju by Meanie Weenie. Okay. The summer before my last year of college, I lived in a treehouse on a friend's property on a large island. You lived in a treehouse for college? Interesting dorm. Set back in the woods a bit, it was pretty secluded. I loved it. It was quiet, and I could do pretty much whatever I wanted, which usually involved an entire 6-pack of PBR, nudity, a pellet gun, and a Grace Slick on vinyl. There was an extension cord running from the workshop up to the tree dwelling, allowing for a few lights, a record player, and a cell phone charger. Sweet. He actually had a pretty nice setup. One night after a long day of working a fun but tiring tourist town retail job, I came home, grabbed a beer, ditched my pants, and got to work. Dear God. I stayed up pretty late, maybe about 2 a.m., then tucked myself into bed. To preface, I experience sleep paralysis a few times per year, usually when I'm stressed out. This was something entirely different. I woke up sometime later, maybe a few hours. It was still dark. There was a shrill noise ringing through my head, almost like high-pitched static. My eyes popped open, and the entire treehouse was glowing red. My entire body felt like it was buzzing. I could look around, but I couldn't move. Slowly, the red light, the vibration in my core, and the noise faded out, pretty much in sync. Once they had all disappeared completely, I could move again. Breathing heavily, I sat up and turned on my lamp. The horses in the barn next door were losing their shit. I was so freaked out I couldn't get back to sleep for hours. I tried to read a book, but I couldn't concentrate. Finally, as the sun started to rise, I dozed off again. When I woke up, I went into the property owner's house, part of the rental deal included bathroom, kitchen, laundry access, and made some oatmeal. I was still freaked out, but happy to have slept. A few hours later, I headed into work. Here's where it gets creepier. I'm pretty sure being paralyzed in a room that was with a high-pitched shrill noise, and your entire setup and the treehouse itself was glowing red would have probably been the creepiest point. But let's keep going. I work with this awesome woman who is now one of my closest friends. Her name, we'll call her Kelly for privacy's sake. As soon as I walked in, she noticed how tired I was. Throughout the evening, I was just kind of floating, with my mind elsewhere. Come here, she beckoned, when the shop had cleared out around dinner time. What's going on with you? I told her about the red light and the paralysis and the noise and the horses. She nodded. Let me tell you something, she started. There is some really fucked up juju on this island. And she went on to tell me this story. When she was a kid, growing up on the other side of the island, her grandparents owned a big piece of property with a small farm. One evening, she was there with her family, including parents, siblings, cousins, aunts, and uncles. When her grandmother called everyone in for dinner, the kids came running and left toys all over the yard. After the meal, her grandfather offered to pick up after the kids. When he came back in about 10 minutes later, he didn't have any of the toys with him. He looked like he had seen a ghost, and his face was white as a sheet. What's wrong with you? Her grandmother asked him. He shook his head and went straight to bed. Some of the adults went out into the yard to check out the situation. The toys were right where all the kids had left them, but the field up beyond the yard was smoldering. Worried there had been a brush fire, everyone walked up to check it out. When they got there, there was a perfect circular ring, about 6 feet across, burned into the tall grass. The grass never grew back, and Kelly said she always got a weird feeling whenever she got near the circle. Her grandfather wouldn't mow near it, and everyone who saw it just picked up bad vibes. This isn't the first time they've been here, she added. They come all the time. My son used to see them when he was little, and he would try to talk to them. Who? I asked, already knowing the answer. He just called them the Green Men. Huh. Kind of an alien abduction thing. Kind of. Not the scariest stories that I've ever heard. By far. But when I think of little green men, I think little goblins. Or little, like monsters or something like that. Just not, I don't think aliens. Little green men, little gray men. Because that's a stereotype. That's kind of like how it goes. Little gray men, come down, they're experimenting on us. But he wasn't abducted per se. He was paralyzed. He couldn't move. It's like, I don't know. Interesting story. Very different. Thank you very much. What's your name? Meanie Weenie. Appreciate it. So let me see what another one is. Okay, this will work. This actually has a picture. The Judge's Chambers by Miss Anthropist. Clever. I like it. My fiance and I met in Washington, D.C. area, and after being together for about a year, we moved from the city to the nearby suburb of Rockville, Maryland. It was a strange feeling house, even if you're not particularly woo-woo or believe in vibes. It had a tendency to just act crazy. Your house acted crazy. Okay. I'll go with that. Okay. One of the upstairs tenants was a painfully shy and awkward man who worked at the library and looked like the caricature idea of a serial killer. That's quick to judge. No, you can't change. You can't change the features of your you can, but I'm pretty sure this dude it's just the way he looks. Be nice. He had been living there since before my mill. I'm gonna go with mother-in-law. Yeah. Before my mother-in-law owned the building, and sometimes when he was drinking heavily late at night, which was most nights. Sometimes when he was drinking heavily late at night. And sometimes in which was most nights. So often. He would pace back and forth loudly and yell. He was unwell, to say the least. More than once, a mentally ill homeless person showed up at the front door of the building, insisting that they either lived there or wanted to rent an apartment. I can think of worse. Can I rent an apartment, please? I'll be good. The historic district of Rockville was a nice part of the town in which you almost never saw people living on the streets, so it was even stranger. A lot of creepy shit happened in the building, and a number of things in our apartment in particular. My fiance's cigarettes were inexplicably hidden from him a number of times, once on top of the fridge. Usually, if you're going to say a number of times, give me like 2 or 3 different examples, but hiding something on the top of a fridge from a grown man, he'll be able to see it. It's not exactly hiding them. If he was a toddler, I agree. Like, oh, you can't have your smokes. They're up here. Like, if you're good, you can have them back. The radio in our kitchen would frequently get turned on or off, despite having a manual dial that had to be cranked to the side and clicked on order to power it on or off. Oh, grammar. A random smiley face that looked like it had been drawn by a finger showed up once on the medicine cabinet mirror when we were taking a shower. I can think of worse. You got a smiley face. That's pretty good, you know? I could think of worse. I could think of, like, kill or die or red rum or something horrible, like a name. If there was, like, a name on there, I could see, like, it'd be a little more terrifying. But a smiley face? I think that there would be a ghost child there. That wouldn't bother me. That would be fine. Fiance. Where's the hyphen over the E? Where's that? You're a fiance right now. Fiance woke up in the middle of the night once and asked me why there was a Confederate soldier walking through our bedroom. How would she know? Like, babe. When did we get a Confederate soldier? Why don't you talk to me about this shit? A couple of times, the smell of sulfur would come from the non-functioning fireplace in our bedroom. Twice, the smell of sickly sweet perfume that I can only describe as eau de grandma flooded our bedroom for reasons I cannot fathom. You couldn't smell it in the hallway outside of our door or anywhere else in the apartment. While at home alone a few times, I heard a distinctive and animalian growling coming from one of the corners of the ceiling in the living room, but saw nothing. Animalistic? I'm gonna go with animalistic. My dogs would lose their shit and bark at the area of the noise until they began shaking and curling up with me. One morning we woke up and walked into the kitchen to find a drinking glass sitting in the center of the floor. The glass had previously been sitting in the sink, so it was a bit puzzling. It was sitting upright, and as we moved closer to it, we found that it looked as if something had taken a bite out of it, and then neatly placed the shards inside of the glass. There was not a speck or splinter of glass anywhere on the floor around it. How do you know? Really? Is your eyes that good? Can you actually see a speck of glass on the floor? Really? That is amazing. I want your eyes. Honestly, on display. I don't want to take them. I don't need. My eyes are good. I will put them on display. Like, these are the best eyes in the freaking world. Too bad she's not using me anymore, but still. The other side of the glass had 3 long scratches in it. I didn't want to touch it, and didn't want my fiance to touch it either. So I picked it up with a plastic bag around my hand like it was a pile of dog crap and took it to the outdoor trash cans. A couple of days later, a branch from a large tree over the carport where the trash cans were fell onto the carport and almost nailed one of the building's residents. Good for you for not getting hit. I'm proud of you, bro. If we burned candles in our bedroom, for some reason, they would burn so high and hot that it made the room unbearable to be in, even if there was no heat on and it was cool outside. This is a very large bedroom with a 14-foot ceiling. Christ! I know my ceilings are like 9, 10 feet, maybe 14 feet. That's a very high ceiling for a bedroom, especially for an old house. I've been prone to issues with depression and anxiety since my childhood years, and even though I loved that beautiful building, living in it was not good for me. Even when we weren't stressed about weird stuff happening there, we fought a lot more than when living there. We got sick a lot more and had just plain bad luck. My fiance had to go back on medication for depression for the first time since before we'd moved in. We learned at some point that the house had once functioned as a halfway house for psychiatric patients transitioning out of a huge sanitarium that had been open nearby from 1910 to 2001. The sanitarium was called Chestnut Lodge. I have to look it up. About 3 months before we moved into that house, the abandoned Chestnut Lodge building burned down and collapsed. A developer ended up buying the land and building very expensive housing on it, calling the development Chestnut Lodge after the facility. Apparently, the sanitarium was an inspiration for I Never Promised You a Rose Garden. Okay. We didn't find out until we were moving out a couple years later that the scary upstairs neighbor originally moved in as one of the last halfway house patients. My mother-in-law sold the house a while back, but it took over a year on the market to finally get bought out. That's pretty good. A year on the market? If it was like out there for like 10, 15, 20 years, then yeah, like I can see that would be an issue. But a year on the market? That's not too bad, actually. That's pretty good. Unless you're trying to do a quick sale. I can understand that. Huh. Nope, not scary. I'm sorry that you actually like had a belligerent, neighbor, and they get drunk, like, sometimes every night. And that you actually had somebody actually draw a smiley face, telling you have a nice day while you're taking a shower, which is kind of nice, Like when I'm in there and I'm by myself, I'm thinking, if only somebody would just tell me to have a nice day. It would be more comforting than anything. I long for that kind of, dedication and commitment from my spectral friends. Okay. So, to each his own. That's okay. It's not what you want. That's fine. Send it my way. I'll take in, the happy face bandit. It's fine with me. So let's go on to the next one. I want to do, I don't even know how long I've actually been recording for. Hold on 1 second. I've already been recording for about 20 minutes. So I want to I'll do 2 more. This one is called Backwards and Forwards and in One Place by Nomi Malone. A few years back, I asked my SO if he had ever seen a ghost. He got really uncomfortable and squirrely, lots of hemming and hawing. Annoyed, I said, just say yes or no. I won't judge if you think you've seen a ghost. I'm a skeptic and figured he didn't want to sound like a rube or something. Turns out he was hesitant because he believes he saw one, but it was while he was deployed on a mission in the Middle East, and he was trying to think of how he could describe it without giving up any classified information. The story is this. He was in the spooky, vague Middle East when there was a commotion from the soldiers watching the perimeter. Apparently, they could see a man about 100 yards away from the camp. He had appeared out of nowhere. No one saw him walking up. The man was just standing there, not doing anything threatening. But since it was a strange man in a war zone, they broke out all the high-tech gear to see what was going on. They could see his face, his clothes, his height, but he looked bizarrely distorted and was not giving off a heat signature. They have infrared gym jams and whatnot. It's the freaking military, not a piddling ghost hunting troop here. He was not the temperature of a human being. He was the temperature of the air around him. They had no idea what was going on, and people freaked out. At this point, I said some obvious stuff. Maybe it was a scarecrow, or a dummy, or a shadow, or the soldiers were really tired and delirious, and their eyes were playing tricks on them. Or it was a hologram weapon shaped like a human. His response: they called different people up to come look at the man. It wasn't just a few soldiers who saw this. Dozens of people came to look, and everyone confirmed that it was definitely a person. Eventually, they decided to send out a team to check this guy out. Then, when they got about 50 yards away, the man started walking. Only it didn't look like he was walking toward or away from them, only walking in place. They froze, expecting an attack, but the man never got any closer. I said, so he was, moonwalking? Ooh, a terrorist with dance moves, scary. His shaky response: it looked like he was trying to walk, but instead of moving like a regular person, its bones were breaking and splintering backwards and forwards at the joints. I can't think of a better way to describe it. Its head was jerking around like a puppet. When the convoy got a few yards closer, it disappeared entirely. The team hauled ass back to the camp, and as soon as they returned, the man thing reappeared in its spot. Everyone took turns watching it for an hour or so until it disappeared for good. Didn't walk away, didn't fly or melt or explode, just stood there for a long time, then vanished. I'll give you that one. That was pretty good. That was pretty damn good. I'm not gonna lie. God, Nomi Malone, kudos. Good story. I gotta give it to you. Now, I was told by STRL0011 to actually read this last one last, because she she said that I will lose my shit the most on this one. So, but I have no issues with that one. That was actually pretty good. I have no qualms. She wanted me to read The Goatman. So I'm going to read The Goatman. Okay. Goatman, sorry. Goatman from Banana Butts. Fantastic name already. The upper back half of my parents' house is haunted. Just wait, go back. Okay, alright, stop. Not the entire house. Okay? The upper back half. So you sectioned this entire house off into fourths. And the bottom half is fine. And the upper front half is perfectly good. But the upper back half is the one that's haunted. Alright, we're good. Or possessed. I don't know. But it's wrong up there. When you go upstairs and open the door, there's a large room with a walk-in closet about 700 square feet. There's a hallway to the right with a little bathroom. And then a door that leads to the other half of the upstairs, another 700 square feet or so, and with two little doors to attics on either side of the room. The light switch to the room is outside the room, meaning to turn on a light from the bed by the window, you have to get up and walk about 30 feet, open a door, reach your arm out, and turn on a light. Or have the clapper. Or have a light that you can turn on and off with your hand. Or have a flashlight. In 1999, when I was 17 and my brother was 15, he lived in the upstairs of the house. Obviously, very choice, as it's basically its own house just without a kitchen. And I lived in the bedroom downstairs. One day, he ran downstairs and asked me if I wanted to change rooms. He said his knee injuries had hurt too badly to go up and down the stairs all the time, and asked if I would like to switch rooms. Of course, I said yes. Now, first of all, he ran downstairs and asked you to change bedrooms. Okay, that's not something you just randomly do, especially as a sibling. You would actually ask him, why do you want to change it? Besides the fact that he has a hurt knee, he freaking ran to ask you. He could have just hobbled and really played that one up. But no, I would have been like, you're full of shit. I know something's up. What's wrong with the room? What's going on? Fast forward a few months later. Okay, well, all right, cool. Fast forwarding. It's a school day and I'm in bed. Lazy piece of shit. The sun is not up and my alarm has not yet gone off. I wake up and I don't know why I woke up, as I am a heavy sleeper who needs a lot of hours. I felt something near my bed. I rolled over to see who was in there, assuming it was one of my parents or a sibling or something trying to wake me up. You felt something near your bed. You rolled over to see who was in there, assuming it was... Okay, I'm thinking... Never mind. Just blank that one. All right. And I see a life-size crucified Jesus on my bedroom floor, living and evil with dark green eyes that glowed. I'm going to try my best to actually find an image of that and put that in here for your convenience. Terrifying, right? Okay, let's keep going. It was obviously not Jesus. Thank God for that distinction. Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm very thankful that you told me it's not Jesus, because I thought the Savior had come back. Just some kind of thing taking on a shape and existing there, trying to scare me. I stared at it, and the eyes locked on mine, and the cross rose up to a vertical position, slowly, until the life-size crucified Jesus was before me, radiating hatred and anger and loathing and disgust. I wanted to turn a light on so bad. To do that, I would have to get up, run around him, make it 30 feet, open a door, and turn on the light. You've already told us what you had to do to open a light. We got it. We're good. I pulled the blanket over my head, because that always works, and waited for the sun to come up. What time? Okay, so it wasn't late. Like it was almost like daytime anyway, so I guess you could do that. But the sun would come up and tried to pretend I had a nightmare, and none of it was real. I got a lamp and put it next to my bed. That would have been the first thing you do when you move into a room. You set it up to be a bedroom, so it looks nice and it is like furnished with everything, including a side table and lamp. So that way, if something is creepy, say a life-size Jesus on a cross, click. Be so easy, so nice. Well, next to my bed. 1 year later, and I'm a senior in high school. Wait, all right, go back. All right, let's go back. All this happened. You don't tell anybody. You wait an entire year for something else to happen. Okay, all right. I have put my mattress on the bedroom floor so I can bang with wild abandon without my parents hearing my bed creak from the family room down below. That could have been really left out. Truly. Really could have. And why would you want to do that in the first place if there was a life-size crucified Jesus that is going to come like in the night to actually see ya? And wasn't this called the Goat Man? What does Jesus have to do with the Goat Man? Anyway. My boyfriend and I bang it out and then roll opposite directions on the mattress to fall asleep. That is amazingly well coordinated. Just going for it like crazy and then just both roll apart and then sleep. That is amazing. I want to be that well coordinated with a girlfriend. That'd be amazing. Oh, God. I don't know what time it was, but it wasn't daylight yet when I woke up. I woke up because I felt something breathing on ME. Got a little hasty with the space there. Something breathing on me. When I opened my eyes, I could see a man's face illuminated by the neighbor's outdoor lights and a street light, very close to mine. There was a man down on the floor with his face near mine, and his eyes were black, solid black. Any part that would have white or color was entirely black and shiny. We know his eyes were black. You said it 3 times in a row. He had dark, ruddy skin and very hard, craggly features, like a very square jaw and deep lines in his face. He was not wearing a shirt. Oh yeah. He had muscular arms. Oh yeah. He was trying to get it on with you with the boyfriend right there. He's like, I saw what you guys were doing. Can I have some? From the waist down, dude was a goat. He had freaking goat legs. I screamed and screamed and screamed. My mouth and eyes open wide, terrified, and no sound came out. Oh wait, go back. You just said that you screamed and screamed and screamed, but your mouth and your eyes were wide open, terrified, with no sound coming out. Screaming is loud, but you had no sound coming out. I'm confused. Okay. As I was screaming, the goat man, face inches away from my own, eyes still locked on mine, opened his mouth to mock my scream. No sound coming out of his mouth either. I closed my eyes and shut them. You double shut your eyes? I closed my eyes and shut them and counted to 60. That's a long time to have your eyes closed with a demonic goat man with awesome arms and abs and everything right there in front of you. He could have just goat fucked you like crazy, you know? Boyfriend wasn't doing anything. When I opened my eyes again, he was gone. My boyfriend rolled over in bed and said, "What the hell was that?" "What do you mean? What did you see?" I said. I kept trying to move and trying to get up and I couldn't move. It's like my body was being held down and I couldn't move. I tell him he must have had a nightmare, but I want to believe none of this is real, and we go out and meet some friends. That's very anticlimactic. All this actually happened. Your boyfriend turns over. He's like, "What the hell was that?" And nothing. I don't know what you're talking about. What? What goat man? No. It's like it's like she's trying to keep him to himself. See, that guy was kind of sexy. Kind of like the way he looked. All right. The next night, as I slept on the floor mattress, too lazy to put it on and off my bed every day, why bother? Yeah, of course, why bother? Because you just had a goat man staring you in the face. A large, hooded figure, maybe 10 feet tall or so, wearing a head-to-toe black cloak. I'm done. And with no eyes or face, just darkness, floated through the door from the other room and toward me. It faded before I got to the mattress. I'm screwing up now too. It faded before it got to the mattress. I didn't tell anybody because I thought I must have had a night terror or a lucid dream. A night terror I can understand, or a nightmare. Lucid dreaming, like, to me, lucid dreaming is a pleasant thing. I didn't care that my boyfriend had felt immobile at the same time I saw the goat man. You heartless asshole. He's like, I don't give a shit about him. It doesn't matter. I assume we had simultaneous nightmares because how could any of this be real? Simultaneous? Like, are you guys that linked? Wow, you guys must be soulmates. It's amazing. I had friends come over who would walk into that room, feel cold, and get goosebumps on their arms and want to leave. Downstairs in the family room, we could often hear the sound of heavy feet walking around in my bedroom above us. A few years later, my brother and I are hanging out. I have never told him or anybody else about this stuff. He says he wants to tell something. Oh, God. Breathe. He says he wants to tell me something and he's sorry and to not be mad. I say okay because he's my brother and I generally don't get mad at him anyway, so who cares? He tells me that when he still lived upstairs, he was in the front room playing FIFA and he heard a woman screaming in the back room. He got up and went to look in that room, and see WTF was going on. When he opened the door and turned on the light, the little attic door on the left had streams of blood coming out from around the tops and sides, like the blood was seeping out of the door frame. The screaming was coming from inside that little attic. That's when he ran downstairs and asked me to switch rooms. He told me he knew it was probably just a nightmare. How often are you guys sleepwalking? Because clearly you're thinking you're having nightmares all the time. I don't know. But it felt real. And he didn't want to stay up there anymore, and he was sorry he lied about the severity of his knee injuries to get out of that room. I said I didn't care at all. True. And told him about what I had experienced up there. I don't want to believe any of this is real. It doesn't make sense to me that it can be. It doesn't make sense to me that it can be. But it's hard to deny it when I, my brother, my boyfriend, and multiple friends have experienced seeing, hearing, or feeling different non-human things up there. It felt to me like the Jesus thing and the goat man were the same entity, hard and cold and hateful and rage-filled, and that the tall, dark-robed figure was a different entity, but I don't know what they were. Whenever it comes up now, I say it must have been night terrors or lucid dreams, but I kind of don't actually believe that, but I want to believe that. I want to know how old this person is. That's my overall thing. And English might not be their first language, which is probably why it sounded so jumpy. But I don't care who you are and what country you're from. I'm pretty sure that if Jesus with demonic green glowing eyes looks at you, you're not going to be like, oh, must have been a nightmare. No big deal. That's fine. If that was a nightmare, cool. That's fine. I understand that. That's fine. But if your boyfriend pops up and says, what the fuck was that goat thing with the amazing arms and chest and abs that was staring at you inches from your face, you're not going to turn over. I don't know what you're talking about. You must have been dreaming. No. No. There's no, you have to believe that. If this is even real. Actually, I'm curious. Give me a second, because like there's a lot of comments down below. I'm very curious as to what other people have to say about this. So, the Goatman story has kept me up all week. I keep looking at my floor like something crazy. Some crazy lit up Jesus thing is going to be there. I don't know what I read these stories, but I read these stories, but I can't stop. These are pretty creepy. Did they actually happen? No, they didn't. People. That's right. That's the lit up Jesus right there. Wait a minute. Alright, I'm gonna start here because the person who actually did the Goatman story was called Banana Butts. I'm gonna read you 2 comments and tell me what you guys think. Esquivel says a misanthrope. Misanthrope says that hers did indeed happen, which was the one with the judge's chambers. That's the one that's walking through the house and the vaulted ceilings and stuff like that. The Confederate soldier walking through the bedroom. Mine did indeed happen, which some of it might have. I'm not gonna lie, some of it probably did. It's crazy. I've had so many weird shit happen, and I just rationalize it away. Growing in Dominican Republic, there were some very crazy things that I saw, especially since my mother practiced Santeria? Santeria. I don't know. I don't know what that is. I have no idea. I'm not just talking little altars. I'm talking parties with the other practitioners of the faith, feast, incense. Thank you for saying that the right way. Alcohol, calling on spirits. It was wild. I was told as a child that never respond to someone calling my name if I can't see their face until they've called me 3 times. Otherwise, I was supposed to assume that it was a spirit calling my name. Just madness. Now, in response to that, Banana Butts actually said something about that. The first line right off the bat immediately made me laugh. Mine is also true and real. Mine was the Goatman Jesus hooded dude. Little backstory that's not entirely related, but it's still weird. We moved into that house when I was 8 in 1990. My name is Sarah. The day we were moving in, the previous owners were still saying hello to us, introducing us to the neighbors, and saying goodbye to their house. It was really sweet. I have an older sister and a younger brother. The people that lived in the house had 3 children as well. One exactly the age of each of us. So they had 3 children, the exact same age of all 3 of the kids. Very highly unlikely, but given the benefit of the doubt. The little girl whose room I would be moving into before I ever moved upstairs was also named Sarah, with an H. The neighbor across the street, Jennifer, who was 5, kept telling me, "This is Sarah's house, and it will never be your house. You're the wrong Sarah." And I was like, whatever, you are 5 and I can ride a bike and do whatever I want. Yeah, that's the authority of an 8-year-old. To actually tell you that you can actually ride a bike and do whatever you want. You are 8. You're practically a grown-up. Good for you. Stand up for your rights. The family that lived there moved to Florida, and I never spoke to them again. 13 years later, when I was 21, my friend who was in social work program at uni invited me camping with her and some of her friends. Ends up she was friends with the Sarah that lived in that house originally. That Sarah had moved back from Florida for school and ended up friends with my friend and then became friends. I asked her about the house and if it was haunted or what the hell was up, and she straight up asked her dad because he built it. What is your dad into? He said he didn't think it was haunted, and she said she'd never experienced anything. Pretty weird circle there. Strange coincidences, and yes, all true. One of my other friends thinks I invited whatever it was in the house into it by accepting a pack of used tarot cards from a different friend and sleeping with them under my pillow, if that's even a thing. That's not. If you have some tarot cards, I'm pretty sure you don't, like, were they possessed tarot cards? Did somebody die and bleed on them and their soul was captured in them? I don't know. It's a little strange. But that's the thing. That's what I was actually asking. What was your dad into? If your dad actually built the house, then something happened with that family that your father is not telling you. What did he do in that house to invite the 7th circle of hell, like, into your home? I'm curious. But dear God, like what was, assuming that it is all true, highly unlikely, assuming that it is all true, was it in the burial ground that you actually built it on? Was there, like, was the walls actually made up of Ouija boards? Did you have, or did, like, the father have, like, a huge Jesus fetish? I don't know. We'll see. I have no idea. I'm more curious than anything. Thank you, STRL0011, for this wonderful read. But dear God, man, really? Okay. I don't even know what to think. I don't. It's funny that, like, one of them was really good. The other ones were so funny. It was so funny. Oh my God, that was just hilarious. So funny. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. That really that made me laugh so hard. Oh God. Oh my God, this is too funny. Anyway, I ramble. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm sorry they're not scary. I was expecting them to be a little bit, but not even close. Not even a little. So, thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. And don't let the goat man get you.